When it comes to towing, seeing is believing. That's why Chevy Truck's advanced camera technology offers up to 8 available cameras for 14 unique views, so you can focus on the view that really matters. Chevrolet, together let's drive. Learn more about Chevy Trucks at Chevy.com. Safety or driver assistance features are no substitute for the driver's responsibility to operate the vehicle in a safe manner. Read the vehicle owner's manual for important feature limitations and information.
Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Right, so welcome everyone to this bonus episode of the Premier League Cricket Show, or it should be called this time, the European Cricket Show. We're doing something completely different here now. We're going to be following our Premier League clubs out in Europe next week. We're going to be talking to Hornchurch and Wimbledon on Wednesday. But join us now to just give us a little preview and a sort of insight to what's going on in the next 4 weeks of madness in Spain. We've got Mr. Maximoooo himself, Vinny Sandhu. How are you doing, Vinny?
I'm very good, thanks, Ian. Thanks for having me, especially at such an exciting point in the season, even though it's early in our season. We've been going about a month already, over a month.
It's sort of giving you 4 weeks or so, just getting into it again, building the excitement up, putting plenty out there, and the gang are all ready now, aren't they?
Yeah, we're ready. And, you know, the tournament coming up now, the European Cricket League, it's often the tournament that people think of when they think of European cricket and the European Cricket Network, because it was the first tournament we ever did. It was the original concept to have the champion clubs of different European nations coming together to play for essentially the Champions League of European cricket. First held in 2019. It was really our first tournament, ECN. That's almost 5 years ago now. Missed a couple of years for the pandemic, but we're coming back for the 4th edition. And this is going to be the biggest and hopefully the best one yet.
And we've got 7 groups, 5 teams in each. And it's going to be non-stop, isn't it, from Monday morning?
Yeah, so, I mean, look, it was hectic already, but we've gone from 6 playing days a week to 7. Next year it might be 8 days a week. Who knows? But the way it's going, because we've expanded, we've included 3 new countries this year. So the original 8 from 2019, they're all still there for the most part. And last year we had 31 teams from 30 countries. This year we have 35 clubs from 33 countries. So we've added Isle of Man, Crosby going to represent them. And we've also got Serbia and Slovenia represented with Stari Grad and Ljubljana, the teams from those countries. So it's great to have more countries involved. Obviously, you know, if more countries in Europe can get ICC status, that is one of the criteria to play in the European Cricket League. So who knows? It might even increase in the future. But now pretty much all these kind of continental European clubs, and then you add in the kind of British Isles teams as well. We're hitting almost the max we could do at the moment as far as the ICC affiliated countries in Europe.
It's going to be a busy old 4 weeks without a show. So for those who've not watched any ECN, and let's be honest, I think there's not many who haven't seen any of it whatsoever. What could they look forward to seeing from Monday?
Yeah, look, I think you're going to see cricket for sure that is just pushing the limits of what you think is possible on a cricket field. You know, the dynamics of European Cricket Network cricket, partly through necessity and partly through design now after almost 5,000 matches. By the way, on day 1, we'll actually broadcast our 5,000th match ever in match 3, which I believe is Zagreb Assassins from Croatia against Ginebrecia from Italy in Group A. Yeah. So you're going to see just pound for pound the most cricket action you could ever hope for. 10 over matches, timed innings, the game keeps moving. To give you a few numbers, to give you an idea, you know, we average a 6 every 7 balls. I think we average a wicket every 10. We average probably around about a 4 and over as well. So in every 2 over period, you're likely to see about 4 or 5 boundaries and a wicket and probably a drop catch as well, or a sensational catch. I know that A lot of people might only know European cricket from what you see on social media or what goes viral. And, that's great that people know about it.
Yeah.
But it's not really until you watch a whole game or maybe a whole day of European cricket that you really get more of a sense of what it's about. And I think you will see some of the best cricketing highlights you could ever hope for just because of the sheer volume of cricket. And the format of the cricket throws that up. So an average score, I think, in this ECL is going to be probably 120 to 130, I would predict, on this ground and with the kind of players that we're going to have. So it's going to be crazy.
I'll make you a bet it's higher than 130.
Okay. I think you might be right.
And I've just, what I've seen this afternoon, we've been watching you guys at ECS Spain this afternoon, been averaging 16 plus and over, some phenomenal hitting.
Today was about 17, Yesterday was 19.2.
And sometimes it's a bit more random than others, but you can see just through the European Championships last September, October, the quality of those European nations growing, and therefore the skills are getting better, the hitting's getting better. Everything's just improving all the time, isn't it? Yeah,
well, I think that is true. I suppose what you need to recognise with this tournament coming up, the European Cricket League, it is still a club-based tournament, whereas the ECC, the Euros of Cricket in September, October, the England 11 won for the second time. That is an international-based tournament. So what does that mean? It typically means that you have more depth in the batting, and the more depth in the batting, the more you can really go for it with confidence that if you get out, someone will cover you. So I think in that European Cricket Championship, it was about 13.5 and over average run rate. The thing is, at club level, they are still club teams. So rather than maybe 7 or 8 or 9 genuine bats, you might be having 4, 5, 6. And that does make a little bit of a difference because if you can get those early wickets, you have the ability to restrict a bit more. And also, I think some clubs, that don't have that batting depth, their top order might be a little bit more careful. I say careful in a very loose sense of the word.
Very loose.
That's why if I had to make a bet either side of 13, I might go slightly under it. But maybe we'll keep an eye on that between you and me.
Yeah.
But, one of the really special things, and this is the feedback I get all the time from the players that get to come to a European Cricket League, it is the highest level of club cricket that you can play, really, in this part of the world. So, and there is something special, having had experience playing cricket, at a representative level and going up the levels, there is something really special about representing your club with players that you probably know a lot better on a personal basis. You might have grown up playing together. There's some really good examples of that in this tournament as well. And so to share that experience, let's be honest, the players kind of at the bottom end of the squad, let's say, they're probably never going to play international cricket. They're probably never going to go above the level that they're playing in club cricket. And to share that experience with some of those guys that you absolutely love is really, really special. And that's why a lot of people say that the ECL, the European Cricket League, the Champions League, because it's a club-based tournament, at least it's these emotions that are probably above anything else that you'll see during the year. Absolutely. And I think what you guys have done from the ECN is just phenomenal in the way you bring the teams over. You look after them incredibly well when they're over there. The flights are laid on, the hotels, everything's laid on for these guys to get them over there and create a festival of cricket, basically. Yeah, well, here's the cold, hard facts. We're the biggest cricket machine in the world as far as matches played during the year, locations visited. It's constant. So last year we finished, I think, 1,661 matches for the year. I did 1,000 exactly. I did my 3,000th match in 3 years last year as well. And this year they're planning even more, even trying to get around a few more T20 International Series, maybe some even bigger stuff I can't even really talk about yet, involving associate cricket nations, even some that will tour from outside Europe to play in Europe, fingers crossed. So it's just getting bigger and bigger all the time. With that, you need to be really organised, and we have become really organised. We have this machine, this organisational machine, and a lot of staff have done over 1,000 matches for us. To give you an idea, it's absolutely crazy. So we can only be done this way if the back end is working. And so we're only taking this step because we're confident we can still provide that experience. And the idea that, I'll give you an idea. This is a 4-week tournament. We're going to have 8 finals days. 8. We'll have 8. Let that sink in. We have more than a week that are just finals days. And 7 groups and then the championship week at the end. That's right. So my gold finals day shoes, they're going to get a workout. And what makes the finals day special? Well, the group finals days, of course, each group of 5 is like its own mini tournament. Whoever wins that gets to come back and get that experience in week 4 playing in championship week. 4 of those teams will drop out of the competition every 3 days. So, finals day, there's an atmosphere about it. Of course, anyone in the area, we're at the Cartama Oval. If you look up European cricket on Google Maps, you'll see it's halfway between Cartama and Coin, just off the A7059, just outside Malaga in the Andalusia region. By the way, they've been fantastic partners, La Junta de Andalucía, in supporting the tournament. I know the mayor will be there to give the ball to the Spanish team when they're ready to kick things off. So, yeah, it is different. A lot of people take it different ways. I think overwhelmingly, though, I think people know by now that we love the game of cricket. We love seeing it spread to new places. And this is the format that can genuinely do that, genuinely get people interested in cricket that might not have a natural connection to it.
Absolutely. I mean, every game lasts, 45 minutes an innings. You're all done in an hour and 45. It's not much more than a football match these days. And actually, with the way injury time's been added to football, it's shorter than most football matches these days.
Definitely. Our VAR doesn't take quite as long, which is good.
No, not at all.
And one thing, again, I love my football, I'll be honest with that, but you won't see the kind of time wasting you'll see in a football match on the European cricket field. We'll never stand for it. Now we've got the rule where the batters need to be ready to face in 60 seconds. And when we say ready to
5
face,
runs otherwise.
You better be ready. Yeah. We've even got the snail graphic, which we put up today.
Saw that yesterday.
Polarizing. But, it works. And it works because through weight of matches, we have a format that is the fastest growing format in the world. I love all cricket. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely do. But as far as giving more players the opportunity to play more cricket, you can't beat what we've done really in the last, this is our 4th or 5th year doing what we're doing. So, super excited.
And that's exactly why I follow it. I'm a cricket lover first and foremost. Probably, as I've said to somebody yesterday, funnily enough, I'm probably more of a club cricket fan than I am anything else and always have been. There is something so different about being able to walk on the park, as you say, with your best mates who week in, week out you're playing with. And then all of a sudden you turn up in Spain to represent your club. There's nothing more special than that, is there?
Yeah, exactly. We've got the Chuckle brothers from Hornchurch, and they've been playing at the club since they're 8 years old. And that's something special for England as well, to have 2 clubs representing England for the first time. And it's kind of because the expansion of the format, because we went from 31 clubs to 34, we needed a 35th club to fill that spot. And normally only the winner is an automatic qualifier for the next year. And when Hornchurch lost the final last year, they thought that was it. They'd have to qualify. And to qualify from England in the club T20, you need to win like 12 games in a row. It's crazy. But because of the format, the only fair thing to do was to invite the runner-up back as well for that extra spot. And the way the draw worked out, Hornchurch and Wimbledon CC, who were the T20 champions of England last year, are in the same group. And already I'm loving the kind of good-natured banter between the two clubs. Yeah. And I actually wonder how Wimbledon will go. Will they have such a rocky start like Hornchurch had last year? Hornchurch came, they probably watched a few viral clips on the internet thinking, this will be a bit of a laugh. They got absolutely rock and rolled. Like, first game, they were like, what is this? Even with some very, very good cricketers in there. Now, I wonder how much research or how much Wimbledon have watched. And there are some strategic things that, your cricket brain might say, in theory, you need to do something. But if you've never done it, such as sacrificing wickets to get a set batter back on strike, such as, looking out for overthrows all the time, such as turning down runs strategically to keep somebody on strike. Will they be able to do that or not? How quickly can they adapt? Everything I hear about Wimbledon is that they could go deep in the tournament, but this is one of the beauties of it. We just will not know until we see them. And that's the thing. They're going to have to deal with a very high-level England club in their group. Not just that. Their group, the other 3 teams are real contenders as well.
One. Absolutely.
A lot of people are saying that in Group B.
Definitely. Let's go through the groups quickly then. So Group A, we start on Monday morning with Gina Brescia, Cobra, Skanderborg, Heritage and Zagreb. Who's your pick of that group?
I hate giving picks, but it would be hard to go past either Gina Brescia or Skanderborg, the 2 lost teams, as I called them, because they qualified but never got to play because of the pandemic. Hassan Ahmed, who starred for Switzerland in the ECC. He did. He plays for Gina Brescia, and you can expect to see him. He had a really good tournament. He's had a really good 12 months or so, but it's not just him. For Skanderborg, we'll get to see Nikolai Damgaard, who has played a lot of international cricket for Denmark, and there's some very good cricket played up there. The Stingrays, as they're called, Skanderborg. they're certainly going to be a bit of a force. And the thing is, Nikolai Darmgard, he actually played for the Jersey team Farmers in Championship Week last year, and he's actually also playing for Team Europe, Nikolai Darmgard, in the upcoming Western Shield,
in the
British and Irish Knights versus Team Europe. So it's hard to go past them. Cobras are a bit of a smoky from Hungary, playing their first ever ECL. Heritage CC, I mean, they'll fly the flag for Luxembourg. I think it's going to be tough, but they do have a fair few international players in there. Zagreb Assassins, I think it's going to be a bit tough for them, if I'm honest. But I'll give you a little bit of trivia. We're going to go through the groups. Group A is the only group where all 5 teams are playing their first ECL. Every other team has at least one team that have come before. So it's going to be a bit of an unknown quantity for those 5 teams, albeit they do have some players that have played in the Euros for their countries. Yeah, but I think Group A is a great way to get it going with 5 rookie teams, if you like, at the level.
So I'll go to Group B, Hornchurch Wimbledon, Huddinge, Prague and Mechelen Eagles. I can't pick it. I just can't pick it.
I'm taking the 5th on this one.
Absolutely.
Corey Ruckers, who is one of my co-commentators, he's already decided that he's a Wimbledon man, and he's given Hornchurch heaps already, saying they don't deserve to be there because they didn't win last year. Corey, does he know how
many fans are coming though?
Yeah, he'll need security. I'm not willing to pay for it. And he won't either, because there's moths flying out of his wallet every time he opens it. No, it's all good-natured. Corey's he's got a strategy of trying to make an enemy out of every team, and he's already annoyed about half of them. But no, seriously, the English sides, we know they're going to be class. Hornchurch, I suppose, with the leg up of having experienced it before, and you could see how much they improved from the beginning to the end. They almost went all the way. It was only a couple of incredible individual efforts, I think, that kept their hands off the trophy. Wimbledon, can't wait to see them. And I'm just super excited for them, because for a lot of guys that have played a lot of cricket, they're about to have an experience that I guarantee you they've never done anything like it. Even the ones that are in their 50s, like Alistair Fraser, I guarantee you he's never done anything like this. And again, using that Hornchurch example from last year, to hear so many of those guys say, I've been around cricket for ages and I've played lots of types of cricket, I've never had anything that was just purely as joyful as the week. That
they couldn't wait to get back.
And I know that you have had a lot of them on the show. So getting off the English teams for a second, though, they better watch out for some of these other teams, because Mechelen Eagles, to win Belgium, they play, forget Bazball, in Belgium, they play Belgian ball. And Belgian ball is a brand of cricket that makes Bazball look pedestrian. It is probably verging into the insane, although the English team lately are probably walking that line a little bit as well. Yeah. But they're going to be incredibly entertaining, and they're going to give it a real crack. Huddinge playing their first ECL from Sweden as well. Sweden is a country with over 70 clubs. Mm-hmm. And to win Sweden, you've got to play some very, very good cricket. And we actually saw them in the ECS last year in Sweden doing very well. Prague CC are on a domestic streak in an ECN cricket of 20, which is equal top. They are the running champions of that European Cricket Series. Yeah. Again, they've got players like Naeem Lala, who's played first-class cricket in Pakistan. They've got some real big hitters in there. They're a very strong club in the Czech Republic. So, look, if I was... I know that a lot of the English players will probably watch this that are going to come. I would say, look, go out, you can watch on the broadcast. You can watch Huddinge play. Yeah. Because they played in Sweden last year in the ECS, and they're all free and live on YouTube. Mechelen Eagles, similarly, we were there in 2022 and they were taking part. You see a lot of those players. And the same with Prague CC. You know, they played in the European Cricket Series last year. So if they're smart, they might do a bit of research.
It'll be a great group. No two ways about it. Let's have a quick, we'll breeze through Group C. So we got Afyon Karahisar. Is that the right way to pronounce it?
Afyon Karahisar SHS. Very good, Ian.
Not
I think
bad.
Maybe you'll be in the box with these soon with your pronunciation skills.
Well, we are working on that. CC Academic, Gamblers, Old Victorians and Alton. I think that's a really tight group.
It is. Look, I think you got the Jersey side, Old Victorians for the first time playing, and Farmers Cricket Club have represented Jersey in the last two. Yeah. So, I mean, plenty of players to watch, actually. I'd probably say Jonty Jenner's one to watch out. He had a really good series, I thought. A bit hit and miss playing for Jersey in the international team last ECC, but I think he's certainly one to watch. I think they probably go in as favourites for me. Alton are a wild card kind of team. They topped their group after day one, and they were bottom of the group after day 2, and they were out of here. They couldn't chase, I think it was 74 or 75 against the Gibraltar champs, Lansbury Lightning. That's how cricket can change in this 2-day qualification format. So Alton are probably contenders there, but I think Old Victorians, even though they're a new club to the format, Alton playing their third ECL, but have struggled to get beyond the initial stages. I just feel like Old Victorians have enough experience there in the format when you combine with their quality to do it. Gambler's a bit of a wild card in there. Afyon Karaisa, I think they have a big task ahead of them. Same with the Bulgarian side, CC Academic Sofia. But what I will say is that the Turkish national side, the Turkish national side had a bit of a hard time in the ECC. But last year, Istanbul KSK, they knocked over Portugal and Ireland. By the way, Ireland were topping championship week for most of it. By the end of the tournament, they came, I think, third in the whole tournament, and the Turks knocked them off. And I tell you what, I've never seen a team win a World Cup live, but that's as close as I've seen the celebrations get.
I remember well.
And so, look, expect the unexpected, but for me, it's a bit of a 2-horse race there. Old Victorians' favourite, and Alton, if they play out of their skin, might be able to knock them over.
Oh, such a clutch off-season pickup, Dave.
I was worried we'd bring back the same team.
I meant those blackout motorized shades.
Blinds.com made it crazy affordable to replace our old blinds.
Hard to install?
No, it's easy. I installed these and then got some for my mom. She talked to a design consultant for free and scheduled a professional measure and install.
Hall of Fame son.
They're the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings in the world.
Blinds.com is the GOAT.
Shop Blinds.com's primetime kickoff event. Save up to 50% off select styles, plus doorbusters. Rules and restrictions may apply.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. You might say all kinds of stuff when things go wrong, but these are the words you really need to remember. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. They've got options to fit your unique insurance needs, meaning you can talk to your agent to choose the coverage you need. Have coverage options to protect the things you value most. File a claim right on the State Farm mobile app, and even reach a real person when you need to talk to someone. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Group D, the other big one as well. This is the big one, along with Group B. Byron, well, they're the ones who gave Hornchurch a right good spanking on that first day last year. You've got Dreux, Empire, Ljubljana, and PUC from Paris. So you got the 2 French teams in there.
Well, the French derby, bit of French-on-French action. Yeah, look, PUC came runners-up to Dreux in the National Championship last year. So actually, if Hornchurch want to feel better, they're not the only team there that didn't win the national championship last year, because PUC were runners-up as well. But they get the second spot because Dreux automatically qualify. France has another spot. Again, they're in the same group. I think their interesting dynamics is these two teams would have played each other quite a lot domestically, and probably compared to in England, where Hornchurch and Wimbledon might lock horns occasionally, but probably never.
They've never played.
Is that right? Okay, well, that's good to know. In France, they would have played each other a fair bit because there's less clubs there. They also share some. Each of those teams has players in the national setup, or they've been around the national setup. Mukhtar Ali Kalami is one to watch for PUC. William Singh's another one that we've seen playing for the French national team. So who's it out of? Look, Byron ended up going close in their group last year. They made the final against the English side, Hornchurch, in Group A. They'd have to play out of their skin. One thing about Byron that I always love to see, there's a lot of Greek-born and ethnically Greek players that have come through the system there. Georgios Galanis is a guy I always love to watch. They're in Greece. They're led by Mohamed Aslam, who actually used to play cricket with Javed Miandad. This guy's like 53. And he puts me to shame. He's 10 years older than me. He's ripped. He can do it all as well. He can bat, bowl, keep, and he just leads the side very well. He gets them believing. Watch out for the big mummy, Ahmed Mumtaz.
Absolutely.
And okay, just quickly on the others, Ljubljana playing their first ECL from Slovenia. They have performed well in ECS cricket, but if I'm completely honest, Croatia, they're still a developing nation. And that's the ECS they've played in, even though they are from neighbouring Slovenia. But I'm excited to see them get an opportunity. Empire CC, well, is this the year of the Finns? I mean, the Finns have a bit of a history of crashing out, although to give them credit, their national team did finished third in their group last year. Some good players for the Finns. Empire CC, Jonathan Skamans is probably a guy to watch there, who's a very good keeper bat. He'll probably open the batting, does a very tidy job behind the stumps. But it's hard to go past one of the French teams. And look, I haven't even talked about Dreux. Dreux, no one had them even in the finals last year, never mind winning it. We thought you can't keep doing what they're doing. They did. No one's really talking about them to go back-to-back, thinking it'd be like lightning striking twice, but I'm not prepared to count them out. They've got Ahmed Nabi there, who is just a six-hitting machine. I guarantee you, whatever he's doing right now, he's probably doing push-ups somewhere, getting stronger. So that'll be a really fun group.
Definitely. Group E. So interesting one, this. Rehberg, Forfasher from Scotland, Gozalmi, Starigrad, and our friends from VOC Rotterdam. This is a good group.
This is the other one that, when you talk about groups of death, maybe you can have 2 groups of death when you've got 7 groups. But look, Forfasher, they came in and it looked like I said, well, just give them the trophy now. They looked polished. They had the skills. They had the attitude, which I think is very important as well. Mm-hmm. They had a really solid attitude from game one. They set the standard, I think, in a lot of ways. And they couldn't get out of their group because they ran into Dreux on a hot streak and just couldn't deal with the top order of Dreux in the final. So Forfasher, looking forward to seeing Dino, Callum Garden for them behind the stumps. Jack Hogarth, the Bison, didn't have a very good ECC for Scotland 11 last year. But in the ECL, he was very, very good. I'd like to see him bowling in the power play. They don't have Michael Leask. He's unavailable for this tournament. I think that hurts him a little bit, that experience. But so they're contenders, no doubt about it. Let's see if they hit the ground running. Obviously, you've only got two days and then the finals make or break. So you can't really tell who's going to come in hot. But are they capable to go through? Definitely. The Germans, BSC Rehberger, they are a side. If you know how the Germans played in the ECC last year, the Germans play a very attacking brand of cricket.
Their opening bats were just incredible, weren't they?
Unbelievable. And to win the Bundesliga, and Germany has something like over 300 clubs now. So to be the pick of those bunch, that they're confident they're going to play an exciting brand of cricket. They love it. I wouldn't be surprised if they could get out of that group. But it's a tough group to get out of. Gozo Zalmi, they look really good. I mean, Malta went pretty close in the ACC to knocking off the England 11 last year.
Very close.
Very close. And the other thing is that Gozo Zalmi already a very strong team with guys like Lala, a guy who once held the record for most sixes in an innings, 20 of them in his 140 early last year. Mehboob Ali is his real name. Zishan Khan will lead the side, who's been in really good form, coming back from injury, playing for Malta, and just kind of leading the side really well. They've got some good bowling options like Fasil Rahman, but they're wild cards. So every team has allowed 2 players that don't meet the criteria. So the criteria is you need to have played for the club in the last 12 months. Yeah. For various reasons. Sometimes, for example, people have trouble with travel or work commitments. This is an amateur sport. Really, in Europe, you've got to understand that. So some teams want to use them. Sometimes they need to use them. But you're allowed to pick up 2 players pretty much from anywhere. Now, the wild cards that Gozo's Army have got, Priyan Pushparajan and Basil George. Now, these are 2 guys that
Basil's playing for them.
Basil is in their list. And they've already got the services of a guy like Varun Prasad, who's captain Malta a lot, big hitting left-hander, has had his injury problems as well. But Gozo's Army, they're coming there to win. They're a fairly new club. They've kind of changed the landscape of the Maltese club scene, and they're confident. They're part of that Zalmi organisation of clubs. And they're confident. VOC former winners lost some of the key players that got them the trophy, though, in 2019. Yep. Scott Edwards, the current national captain's left the club. Max O'Dowd's left the club. Do have some of the players that still have survived from that 2019 win, like Rami Ubachaya, like Jota Schonheim as well. Watch out for Tim de Kock, I think, at the top of the order. Yeah. He's a very, very important player to watch. Good young players like Sieb van Bingerden. To be honest, good blend of youth and experience. But I actually think VOC Rotterdam, if you look at how they've actually performed in the ECLs since, it would be hard to say what's changed here compared to the last couple of years. They were automatic qualifiers in 22 on account of winning in 19. Couldn't quite make it to the final. A similar story last year. So, I mean, maybe it's a good thing. They don't go in as heavy favourites. We know that in the Netherlands, cricket's booming. The national team's having a lot of success. That filters down to a very strong top classer. And to win that competition, obviously, they've been playing some good cricket. So maybe it's a good thing they don't go with that kind of favourites tag and maybe lack of expectation. Maybe it gives them the freedom to go out there and spring a surprise. Just quickly, Starigrad, the Serbian club. I'm so excited to have them in the tournament, but I don't know. They might have walked under a ladder or something before the draw. because I think, Serbia, there's some great things happening. They've got the Vukusic brothers, who are Serbian teenagers who literally came out of one of the school programs where they go around, they teach cricket. These guys have got a few years of cricket under their belt, and I'm looking forward to seeing them. But I think it'll be a big learning curve. Like, I think if they win a game, they'll consider it a success. But I'm really excited that they get their ECL opportunity.
Group F, 2 left to go. This is one of my favourite groups, funnily enough. A lot of teams in here that people may have heard of if they've watched a bit of European cricket before. So you've got, from the bottom, I'll start with Tallinn Stallions. They've been around a bit. Pakika Badalona, fabulous side. Independence, Donnerstadt from Austria, and Crosby from the Isle of Man. Interesting.
Yeah, what a group. It is a really interesting group. You're right there. I mean, a.k.a. literally today they crashed out of the ECS Spain here in Barcelona. But a.k.a. they won it in 2022. And again, people think they could go all the way. I mean, if you actually look at the last 2 ECLs, which are the only 2 we've had at Khartoum, no one ever really thought the winners could win. And they did, with the English side losing the final in the last 2. Now, a.k.a. were automatically qualified for the Championship week last year, and why I think that hurt them a little bit. Also, there's been some issues just with the organisation of cricket in the region.
They came in a bit cold, didn't they?
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of complications off the field that kind of hampered their preparation last year. They have lost Mohamed Ihsan, it looks like, which is a shame. He's had a personal situation that he has to take a bit of time away from the game. Now, they've still got about a month, I think, until maybe not quite a month, maybe more like 3 weeks until he hopefully can get back. But he had to leave the ECS early, and to lose such an important player. He's the leading run scorer all time on the network. He also is their wicket keeper. And he's just got such a great record at the Khartoum Roval, although he did struggle a little bit at the top of the order last year. But here's the thing with a.k.a. I don't spend too long on them, but they are former champions. They've got Big Mohammed Babar to open up for them, the guy that went viral for hitting one-handed sixes last week. He also hit 100 today without breaking a sweat. He's a key all-rounder. And their 2 wildcards, they've got Daniel Dorcaye back, who has been the form player for Spain, or I suppose one of them. Also a gun fielder, a guy who's played a lot of high-level cricket in South Africa. And he absolutely loves the Khartoum Roval. And so you've probably got him to open up with Babar. I think Ihsan would have batted in the middle order anyway. And then you've got the other wildcard they're using on Sebastian Bratt, the Dutch ECC winning captain from 2022. So you throw those 2 wildcards in there and you're suddenly like, all right, they've got a good young bowling attack, Mohamed Atif, the leading wicket taker of all time on the network. Got some emerging bowlers in there, obviously missing someone like Mohamed Kamran, who had that real kind of that extra pace, that kind of intimidation factor. But I think they'll go close. Just quickly on the other sides there, and it's really hard to split the others in a way. You've got 2 very different contenders, and I think they are both contenders in Donnerstadt of Austria. They'll have someone like Roswell Shigawal, who's captain of the national team a lot. Also, they've got the wild thing, Javid Zadran and Itibar Shadida, maybe to bowl the middle overs. And these guys, if you've seen any Austria ECS, you'd know, like, they're, again, a bit crazy in a good way. But they've also got the quality in there. And I think they're another team, actually, one of the lost teams that qualified, but unfortunately it was one of the years that we had to cancel because of the coronavirus. Independent CC, again, they fly under the radar a bit, but I'm telling you what, when they're at their best, they're probably the best bowling and fielding team when they hit their straps. So I think you got a lot of the national team representatives in there for Indies. Yeah, I think they could definitely put it together. Crosby, super excited for them getting an opportunity. I know they've been following. Again, no real pressure on them, I think. They've got some good players. Chris Langford's a guy I really enjoyed watching for the Isle of Man national team. They were playing in the ECC for the first time last year. And I think same thing, make the finals day, see what happens. Every game's different, and if you can put together the perfect day, you might be able to come back. And then the other team in there, we haven't talked about Tallinn Stallions. The Baltic boss, Saif ur Rahman. Watch him. They had no problem scoring runs last year. Probably because, he's basically Estonia's answer to Chris Gale. He's got the hair, he's got the power, he's left-handed, but he didn't have a lot of help last year. Also, their bowling was terrible, almost like they turned off gravity. I've never seen so many full tosses. So if they can sort that out, then maybe they can win their first game, because last year they couldn't quite get a game. They were in that tough group with Hornchurch of England, Darmstadt CC of Germany, Byron of Greece, and Indies of Guernsey. So it's a tough group. But for them to go well, I think they've got to sort their bowling out, and Saif ur Rahman has to go big.
Final group: Oslo, Mouflon, Calpe Giants, CIYMS, and I can't, Cluj. And there's a story behind Cluj, which we'll come to in a second, I'm sure, because there's an opposition podcast who've decided that Cluj are the team to back, and they haven't got a clue about T10, have they?
Are all podcast enemies? I didn't realise. Have you got a feud going on here?
Not yet, but when I heard that earlier this week, I was like, really, guys, pick someone who actually you might know something about.
Well, okay, let's start on Cluj then. Now, Cluj are one of the original 8 clubs to come to the ECL, and Pavel Florin went viral for them, the native Romanian player who a lot of people would be aware of his cricketing journey. They also played in the second edition, missed out in the third, where they didn't qualify. United CC Bucharest qualified for Romania last year. Couldn't really put it together. Cluj are back now. The last game Cluj played at the Carter Oval, they almost knocked out the Scots, Carlton, back in 2022. And Radchekar played a fantastic innings. They've got Taranjit Singh, who's no longer based in Romania. He's living in Poland now, but still plays for the club, and still, once you play for the national team, you qualify, even if you then move, and as long as you don't play for another country. So, to be fair to this other podcast, which we will not name, I guess, I think that Arun follows that show, who's the manager of Cluj, and he just kind of threw it out there. And I'm just happy if it means more eyeballs on it.
They've got publicity, brilliant. And do you know what? I'll back them on that. Absolutely.
Yeah, so Cluj have belief. They do have belief, especially, pushing a team like Scotland. They were in a winning position in that finals match. So for them, I think it would be about running deep, hopefully finishing top 2 for them. And once you get to the final, anything can happen. CLYMS, probably the favourites. But they had a slow start last year. You've got Jason Van der Merwe, last year's MVP. You got Chris Doherty in there. I think that's it. They had an interesting strategy, which was, this is our top 3. Come hell or high water, that you guys, we're going to play you into the kind of form that you're unbreakable. Now, eventually, it did just come apart a little bit on the very last day. But I found it interesting. I'm not saying it's a bad strategy. It's an interesting one. I think watch out for Jacob Mulder. He's the flipologist. Not many people bowl the flipper anymore. No one's really used to playing it. Bowls it a lot. It was one of the most effective bowlers, just flicking that ball out. So his father, Brett, played a fair bit of first-class cricket for Western Australia, where I'm from. So, look, his dad's name's Piggy. They call him Piggy, so maybe he's the piglet, Jacob Mulder. I don't know. CLYMS, I think they have to go into favourites. They did top championship week as well throughout the group stage in week 4 last year. Look, I tell you who we're not talking about a lot that we probably should be. Oslo, CK. Norway, they always tend to fly under the radar. They're one of the unluckiest teams, I think. When you look at some of the cricket they've played, that they haven't really made a deep run. Look at their club last year, Fossum. They lost with the 5 penalty runs. They slept through the alarm clock, so to speak, the 9th over. Probably they were going to go down to Beverin anyway. Needed 4 off last over. They didn't need to get him in the end. But watch out for Raza Iqbal, who leads the Norwegian side. And again, he's just one of those players that seems to be able to do it against good opposition. And they're going to be real contenders. And same thing with their national team last year, Norway. I mean, they had a really tough group. Yeah. They were devastated. They got knocked out by this. And if they'd won that game, I think it was one of the minor finals, who knows? They might have been able to go all the way. So watch out for them. I think that they are a real chance in this one if they can put it together. That leaves Calpe Giants and the Mouflons. So Calpe Giants from Gibraltar. Again, they've got some good players in there. We just had a night series there. I do think, given the size of their program, it'll be tough for them to compete. But this is where you just got to hope that your stars can.
It only takes one man to have a day out.
And look, they'll have a lot of local support as well. I mean, they're based only about an hour and a half away from the Carter Oval. So I'm sure they'll get a few down there, excited that they'll have that opportunity, and just you never know. You look at the qualifier last year at Lathbury Lightning, pulling off that win against Switzerland, essentially cost Switzerland. And then they won. They ended up finishing 3rd in their group. Could have probably gone higher. Leaving the Mouflons, well, they have the benefit, I suppose, of having played some cricket recently. Again, we've had a series in Cyprus to start the year. It was about a week and a half series. Mouflons didn't play as a club there, but a lot of their players did. So I'm thinking, we'll see some of the players like Chamal Sadoun. Cyprus, because of the fact they're not in the EU, they often are given special dispensation to have more wild cards, meaning more non-Mouflons, because sometimes with the paperwork, it's been in the news lately, hasn't it, with Rehan Ahmed and trying to get into India. So it happens at all levels. So often you will see some of the guys popping up that are not actually Mouflons, but from some of the other clubs, and that's the reason for that. So you might see a few people popping up that you've seen before around that kind of national team kind of setup. And the Cyprus side in 2022 was Punjab Lions Nicosia. They actually went so close to knocking out a.k.a. the year that they actually won it. In the end, it was rain, stopped just in time, 3-over game, and they didn't win. But actually beat a.k.a. early on their group finals day. So, again, not prepared to rule them out. Cyprus play a real super aggressive game. They're probably not as technical as some of the other teams, and a lot of the time they'll get away with it at club level. But actually what we saw in the Cyprus series is, they do have some players that are pretty technical and still have that power. So it would have to be a big week for them, I think, to make it out of the group. But we know that the Cyprus side have almost done it before, so why not? So, yeah, it's crazy. We've just gone through 35 clubs. I think we've pretty much mentioned everyone to some extent.
And not only mentioned every club, there's a player at almost every team that you can look out for.
Definitely. And look, the beauty of this, if I'm completely honest, and this is the feedback we have all the time about the ECL, is probably 12 to 15 clubs that could win it. And we know that now because clubs have come from the clouds before. They have the belief. These are all champion clubs. These are all winning clubs with a winning culture. Yeah. And they're going to come and they're just going to be going at each other. I'm not prepared to say even what I think finals week will look like, but I'm looking forward to the exciting cricket. The other thing is I do believe that you can watch it live and free on YouTube every day. So Absolutely. It starts at 10 a.m. UK time and it'll run up until about probably 8:30 in the evening, right? Something like that. So, I would love to get that interaction, get in the chat.
Absolutely.
One of the few things you can actually comment. I'll be commentating most of the games. We can have a conversation and we can discuss what's going on. It's very unique that way.
And I would absolutely 100% back that. That's how I've got involved with you guys. That's how we've really started to get close to what European cricket's doing. Get in that chat. There's some great guys in there. It's a really fantastic chat going on. It's building all the time, the amount of knowledge that's in there as well. And actually, there's some real proper cricket fans in there from around all over Europe, which is brilliant.
Why wouldn't you be? I mean, sometimes I call it cheeseburger cricket because, it's not a test match. We're not trying to be a test match. We are what we are. It's different, but it is entertaining. So the reason I call it cheeseburger cricket, if your test match is like your filet mignon at a Michelin star restaurant, and then maybe your ODI, your T20 is like a good pub meal, maybe a franchise is, like your down the local pub.
Let me just put some times in for people who are listening for the first time about European cricket. 10 a.m. Monday morning, first game. You've got 2 days of Group A followed by the finals day. Then on the Thursday, you've got a 10 a.m. Hornchurch kick off their campaign, followed swiftly by Wimbledon at 12 noon. And if anyone wants to watch a proper scrap, it's Friday night under the lights at Carterma. You've got Wimbledon versus Hornchurch in that group.
Definitely.
I'm not saying the planners have done that on purpose, but hey, good stuff.
Let's see if Hornchurch can hold some catches under the lights. It cost him a little bit in last year's final.
Absolutely.
But yeah, one of the beauties as well, if you recognise that the broadcast is there for you to watch, even if you can't watch it live, you can go back and watch it. And there's also highlights videos on our YouTube channel, ECN European Cricket Network. There's also player of the match videos. So, you can watch a game in sometimes a 10-minute highlight package to catch up. And so that's the beauty of it. It's a smorgasbord of cricket. Can I give you I'll drop a bit of info in bonus for you. This is the European Cricket League, which is the Champions League of European cricket. But coming up, I've already mentioned we have the Western Shield, which is the first ever British and Irish Knights versus Team Europe. Squad's still getting finalised. We have the women's version called the Meltool Shield later in the year, which is the same sort of thing, British and Irish Roses versus Team Europe. But what I was going to say is the Euros of cricket this year in September and October, where England 11 will be the defending champions, is the men's version. It's been broken up into 2 divisions this year. So rather than, we've expanded our 32 countries involved, there will be a 22-team top division, if you like, and there'll be a 10-team second division called ECCX, and it'll be like Premier League, how it was 22 clubs when they first started, I think, in the Premier League era. And this is really exciting. So the tournaments will still fit together into that 4-week window, but you'll have 22 teams playing for that ECC trophy. You'll have the 10 bottom-ranked teams playing for the ECCX trophy, which still has its own championship weekend, has its own finals day. And what is quite exciting, and the rankings are based on how the teams went last year, to be completely fair and impartial. But the top 2 teams from the lower division division next year, they're up in the ECC. And the 2 worst performing teams in the ECC, they'll be down the next year. So I think that'll keep a lot of teams on their toes. And so I know for a lot of the people that are following European cricket, that might be some news that you might not know yet because we're still about 6 months, 7 months off the start of that tournament. But I mean, the buzz among some of these countries that really know that they would never win an ECC at this stage anyway, countries like Czechia, like Greece, like Estonia, many more. The fact that they will be in this X competition where suddenly they're looking at a trophy. They're looking at being winners, playing countries around their standard, and any one of those 10 could win it. Any 2 could get promoted. There's already a buzz around it, and it's kind of supercharging the cricket in those countries. And also the countries that are just up, probably countries like Romania, for example, would be one of them. They got to be on their toes because they could be down the next year. So I think it'll breathe a lot of life into cricket. It already has at the international level here in Europe.
Once again, ECN leading the way in the way you're going about in organising cricket. It's phenomenal. You don't stand still, is the best way to describe it, do you?
That is true. Although I might stand still. It's been a long day, and after this I probably am going to hit the bed behind me because we've got finals day in Barcelona tomorrow.
Absolutely.
But yeah, thanks again for your support. I want to say to all the viewers out there, we wouldn't be what we are without the viewers and the support that I get and all of us get at ECN to keep on doing what we're doing. Those that actually take the time to understand what we're doing for cricket and what we're trying to do, the fact we've introduced 7,000 players on ECN and hundreds of teams and taken it to a place that really 5 years ago we never thought we'd be where we are, and it just keeps on growing. So that's a lot to do with how we receive the federations, the viewers, obviously everyone at ECN and the role that they play to get us on the park and keep us on the park.
And from a cricket lover to a cricket lover, we say thank you very much, Vinny. Looking forward to it from 10 o'clock on Monday morning. I'll be there watching that first game, following it all the way through.
And let me just say one thing. The 29th of February only comes around once every 4 years. So get this in your head. It's a very special day. This day has never happened then, we know now, where we'll get to see Hornchurch and Wimbledon playing on the same field, on the same day, in the same group. 29th of February, Group B starts. So that's the one. I'm sure a lot of our English fans, that's one to put in the diary. But warm up with Group A, because that'll give you a taste for
you'll get used to it then, won't they? Definitely. Thanks a lot, Vinny.
Definitely. Thank you, Ian. All the best. Always a pleasure. And I'll see you at the ECL.
Thanks for listening to the Premier League Cricket Show. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future episodes and stay updated on all the latest news, views and discussions from around the cricket's Premier Leagues. And be sure to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram at TPL Cricket Show on both. Join the conversation, share your thoughts and connect with us and your fellow Premier League cricket fans. And hey, if you enjoyed the show, why not show us some love? Leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast platform, as it helps other potential listeners to find us when they're searching for cricketing podcasts. Thanks again for being part of the Premier League Cricket Show family, and until next time, have a good one.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.